Hello everyone. I hope you all are staying home, staying safe, staying healthy. Due to the situation we are facing right now, we are bound to stay at some distance, but keeping distance socially, let's come close with knowledge. So this is our first official lecture of the semester. So whatever happened in past few months, we have lost so many things, so many people, and we are here to discover something new. So why not start our lecture which actually means something? So I have decided to start our lecture with the period Renaissance, which actually means revival, rebirth. We are also doing revival of our education, of the way of getting knowledge. Okay, the period of Renaissance is 1550 to 1660, and we will learn the section topic in different parts. As it is part 1, we will see different parts in upcoming lectures. Okay, I hope you have got the idea. So before starting Renaissance, actually I want to give you brief information about the history of English literature timeline. Now in your semester first and semester second, I hope you have learned about the different periods and different ages of English literature. Now what are they? That when the time changes, when the situation changes, when political situation changes or social situation changes, it brings it brings changes in every aspect of the society of the time. That is we can call period, and in that period we see different ages. See, if you have heard the Bhakti Yug in Hindi literature, Gandhi Yug in Gujarati literature, just like that we have various ages in English literature during the different periods. You must know that, because not just you are studying according to it, but it will help you in further understanding the whole English literature, because everything in your syllabus, everything you are going through the periods. In your first and second semester you might have learned plays of Shakespeare and this poem, John Donne, a poem of John Donne, or you may learn in next semester or in this semester. So if you see, you are learning everything in chronological way. So before going through haphazard, I wanted to make it clear, it is very important. Before starting our actual topic, I want to teach you about it. You must know. Even if you want to clear your NET and SET exams, you should know the basic information about it. So from where the basic knowledge begins? It begins from understanding the history of English literature. If you understand it, you will understand everything after that. So let's begin from where it actually starts. It is not very far, but still you should know that where it starts. Okay, so here we have three lines, timeline, from which time to which time, what period covers, and what period covers to what age. I will give you little bit information, but after completing lecture, I hope you will go through the topics by yourself, because you should know about it. Okay, so we will begin it with 858 to 1100. It is known as an old literature, and the age is known as an Anglo-Saxon. Now why it is known as an Anglo-Saxon? So it is a time when Roman were ruling the Britain. Now they were not even ruling, they are ruining. There are so many destruction happening at the time. So from side of Denmark, three different tribes like Anglo, Saxon and Jutes came to live in Britain, and Anglo and Saxon survives, and they dominated the period. That's why the age known as an Anglo-Saxons. Okay, another facts which I want to tell you, that the name of Britain was not England, actually it was came from the word England. The spelling was Angland, England, which was of course was there because of Anglo tribes. Then it became changed as it England. Okay, this is just little bit information. The famous work from Anglo-Saxon, I think it is Beowulf. You should read about that. Beowulf, and the movie is also available. It is a very famous epic of the time. So I hope you will get the knowledge about it. Next, what happens? So next timeline is 1100 to 1500, which is known as the Middle Age, and famous as a Norman conquest. Now, what is Norman conquest? So when Anglo-Saxons were trying to establish themselves from Normandy, a French people came and looted the Anglo-Saxon, whatever other people were living there, and they dominated that period. So that's why that age known as an Anglo-Norman period, or it happened. Conquest means they won the place, and then after they ruled the place. Another thing I want to tell you that what happens when such a invasion happens, they bring their literature, their language with them. So it merges with the already exist language. That's why English language is very hybrid language, because it is mix of various languages. So Anglo-Saxon made their word in it, then Norman people added their word in it. So this is how English language become more flexible, and it had other words in it. Now after that, the long and important period of English literature began, 1500 to 1616, Renaissance. So you can see there are Tudor, Elizabethan, Jacobean, Caroline, Puritans. These names came from the monarchy at the time who were ruling the England or Britain. From their name, the name of the ages we have gotten. Now let me explain you a little bit about Renaissance. I will explain you further too, but because we are doing the timeline. Renaissance word is actually a French word which means rebirth, revival. Okay, why we need rebirth, revival? Because something has died or something has lost. So what happened in old time or in the medieval time, that there was so many wars, 100 years of wars between England and France. So we have lost so many things. Even Europe was under the different kinds of wars. So when threat was started to everything demolish, so the scholars ran toward Italy, and they started to live together, and they made Italy a hub of knowledge. So the like people of Greek doesn't know about Roman literature, people of other country didn't know the other literature, so they were now at the same place. So now they have discovered the literature of other countries. So new type of literature, new type of culture started to establish, started to emerge, and that is called Renaissance. So the hub of Renaissance was established in the Italy, and then it gets spread in other countries. We are here actually learning when Renaissance came in England. Okay, it started in Italy, then spread in other countries, but we are particularly focusing here that when it came in England. So these are the name of ages which happened in England. So when Renaissance began, there was a time when Tudor monarchy was there, the king of Tudor monarchy ruling the England. Then the most powerful monarchy, the most powerful queen came, was the Elizabeth First. Her time was 1558 to 1603. She's the first queen who ruled England for a long time, and she has done so many changes over there. She was favorite, and if you know that this is the time when Shakespeare has written his plays, not just Shakespeare but Spencer, Sidney, so many writers were there. That's why, you know, if you have heard the word, England was called as nest of singing bird, because this was the heyday for the poetry in English literature. Then Jacobean, when Elizabeth was died, James I, the King of Scotland, came to rule and because of his name, the age was known as the Jacobean age. Then came the Charles first and Charles second, their period known as the Caroline age. If you know John Donne, metaphysical poets, Cavalier poets, they came in this period. Then came the Puritan age, when Puritan ideology started to actually existed. So it came in there. Puritan actually age, we can say, then when Renaissance started to defame, it started to done and complete. It is now beginning of a new era. So what is the new era? We will see in the next slide. Now next what we have, that after completing Renaissance, we have in 1660 to 1798 neoclassical age. Very important again. Neoclassical age or period has three different ages in it, and that is, the first is Restoration age. Now Restoration age, why this name? Restoration means to restore something. What they restored in that time. So the age is known as Restoration age because in that time monarchy was restored again. As we just discussed this, there was a time when Puritanism was enjoying its day. Now what happened in Puritan age? The power of the politics came under the hand of people, Commonwealth people, but it didn't last long. So again, the power of the politics, power of government came under the king, and the monarchy established again. That's why it is known as a restoration of monarchy, when Charles II came in the position of ruling England again. You must read about it, and whenever we are doing interaction, I will ask you about that what you know about different ages you should know. Now after Restoration we have Augustan literature. I hope you heard the name of Alexander Pope, because he belonged to this age. Now why it is known as an Augustan literature? Because of the literature, because of the ideology of the writer of this time, scholar of this time followed. So writer of the time like Alexander Pope and other were following the model of for their work were written in classical Greek. So whoever has written in classical Greek time like Homer, uh, um, he has written Odyssey, Iliad, etc. So they were actually Virgil. These are the some writers they were following. So Aristotle, Plato, whatever the writer has says about that, how or what should a writer should write, they were actually following that model. And in that time, in classical Greek time, the king whose name was August, on his name, because they were following this that particular era, this age is known as an Augustan literature, Augustan age, because the writer of this age were following writer of that age for Roman Greek classical time. See, you can see the period name is also in neoclassical age, because they were not actually following the classical age, but they are known as a neoclassical, or sometimes it is also known as a pseudo classical age. Why pseudo? Now pseudo means fake, now artificial. Why they are called as like artificial and fake? Because the writer of the time were only following form, they were not following content. In the name of content they are writing anything, they are just following form, like a sonnet to the 14-line poem and this form and that form, but in maintaining form they are not maintaining contents. So we are not enjoying the literature of that time. So that's why it is also known as a pseudo-classic or neoclassical age. Now after that came age of sensibility. I hope you have heard the name of Dr. Johnson, very famous name. So in this period we have seen, if you have heard the name of Darwin, He published his book about the evolution of human in this period. This age is known as the age of reason. People started to think not emotionally but mentally, practically. That's why this age is known as a age of sensibility. So what happened when people started to think only by their mind? A revolution came that we are done with it. We want emotion back, we want good feelings back. So what happened in 1798? If you are seeing the timeline, 1798 to 1901, if you remember, if you know, a book published in 1798, the name of the book was Lyrical Ballad, written by William Wordsworth and S.T. Coleridge. That happened in 19th century, and that book began a new era, and that era was Romantic Age, Romanticism. I know that I may not teach you, but I know that you might have heard the name of Wordsworth, of course, S.T. Coleridge, uh, Keats, Shelley, Byron. They are the very famous romantic writers who has written immense poem about beauty, women, love, and everything. So this was the romantic age, which came as a revolution against the age of sensibility, the the age of focusing only on form, not on feeling. Then came very important age, a Victorian age. The Victorian age is known as Victorian age because Queen Victoria was ruling the age. So the name was came from her name, Victorian age. Its time is 1837 to 1901, and till before Elizabeth II was right now the king of Britain, the period of Victoria was very much long in the history of uh, monarchy. She has done longer term in the monarchy, and then came Elizabeth II. She is actually ruling right now, and she has done 19 years almost as a queen over there. So why Victorian age is so much important? Because what we are seeing right now in our society, somewhere it was pioneered in the Victorian age. We are seeing so many factories, so many different kinds of problem in society. We Everything emerged in this period, and this period has the great writers like Dickens. If you I hope you have heard his name. If you not, then you should read about him. We have Dickens, we have Tennyson, so many writers we have in this age. If I could complete my lecture little bit faster in this semester, I will give you more detailed information about every age with every writer, because it is very interesting topic to know. After that, we have the last period, that is 1901 onward. Means this period is still continue, and that is started in 20th century literature. It has two edges. That modernism began in 1901. Why 1901? Because at the time Queen Victoria died, so the age ended with her. So modernism 1901 to 1939, and next and the last age is postmodernism from 1940 to 21st century, in which we are right now living. Now what happened? There are so many writers in this age, T.S. Eliot and others. They are prominent writers, but what happened in poetry, that they are the poet of this era was not so much as emerged, as became important as the Tennyson and Wordsworth had in their time. There are so many writers we have, so many poets we have, so many type of literature we have, but we can say that this writer is the prominent of this age. We don't have that type of writers in these eras. Okay, so I hope you have understand whatever I taught you about the timeline. Now we can proceed toward another topic, and that is Renaissance. Renaissance period. Renaissance means rebirth or revival in French language. As I already told you that what is meaning of the Renaissance, that is rebirth, revival in French language. It denotes the whole transition from the Middle Ages to modern world. Middle Age is also known as a dark age because we almost lost everything, literature, socially, everything we have ruined because there were war of 100 200 years, so very less thing was survived. So it like, so Renaissance is like a ray of hope at the time, so it completely transformed everything from middle age to modern world. The mentality of people, the approach of people has completely changed. It is described as the birth of modern world out of the ashes of the dark ages. I said there were so many wars, so many fires. So we can say that Renaissance is like a something like a phoenix bird which emerged, which get birth again from its own ashes. The term Renaissance seems to have been first used by the French historian Jules Michelet in his Historique de France, published in 1855. You have to remember this information. It is very particular information, can be asked in a MCQ. It describes intellectual and economical changes in Europe from 14th to 16th century. So it completely cut the 14th and 15th century mentality and completely gave new form of everything. People started to think in a different way. We have different economical sources now. We have different kind of literature. Everything was changed in Renaissance period. So as the writer Taine says that man, so long blinded, had suddenly opened his eyes and seen. So he's saying that before Renaissance, it was like that man has shut his eye, he has never seen anything, and suddenly has opened his eyes, and now he can see everything. So it was not just dark age literally but metaphorically too. Now the another writer, Ronald Carter, says that now new worlds, both geographical and spiritual, are the key to Renaissance, the rebirth of learning and culture, which reached its peak in Italy in the early 16th century and in Britain during the reign of Queen Elizabeth I from 1558 to 1603. If you remember, this is the time when Columbus, Vasco da Gama started to discover new land, and this is the time when our India was discovered by them, for them, because we were already existed, they didn't know. So this is the period when so many expeditions happened and world discovered differently. It is the time when New England, which is known as America right now, also discovered. Africa also discovered, and of course they discovered because England wanted to come India. I will tell you why this happened further. In the year why Renaissance happened, or why everything this discovery happened, why they need to do this stuff, because a very particular incident happened in 1453, that is when the Turks conquered Constantinople. Many Greek scholars took shelter along with their manuscripts and libraries in Italy. So what happened, that in a war with Turks conquered Constantinople. Now that is the place where we were selling our spices to England through the land, but now Turks conquered it, so there is no another way from the lands that England, Britain or Europe can get the spices from India. So now they have to find out the another way to get it. That's why the expedition actually started, and then whatever happened, it's actually a history. So this is a very important part now. So because of wars, Greek scholar has to run somewhere to they can save themselves and the literature and the past historical documents. So they everyone from another, different parts of Europe run toward Italy, in the libraries of Italy. So this is how Italy became the center of classical literature and culture, because in Italy people came from Roman, Greek, German, France. So they gathered in a one place and shared their knowledge, and this is how Italy became the main center of Renaissance. Italy thus became the teacher of Europe in philosophy, art and literature. Renaissance began in Italy in the 14th century with the work of Petrarch and Boccaccio. You have to remember these two names too, because they are very important. They have actually influenced the biggest writer of the world, including Shakespeare. It spread in Germany, France, Spain, Netherlands and England. It began with the revival of classical learning. It began with revival of classical learning. It is very important because they are not writing new. You understand that right now they are not writing new, but they are actually studying what is already existed, classic, and now they will read them and they will set their model according to it. As I said, it happened in Augustan age. They were actually have modeled themselves on the classical literature. So the pioneered what happened in this Renaissance period, which came in 14th or 15th century. It began with the revival of classical learning, which has come to be called humanism. It is very important term which actually came to exist in this era. Humanism, the study of human, actually started to in this period. Before that, there was no value of human life. Now after it, the value of human life started to exist. People started to study about value of human, why men are so much important on the earth. Its influence reached England in the 16th century. The people had a deep interest in all the possibilities of human experience. Shakespeare wrote, "Tongue in trees, books in running brooks, sermon in stones, and good in everything." This very lovely line that suddenly everything got a voice. The thing around us which didn't matter before that, now they started to matter. People started to write, people started to read, people started to voice themselves. So he's saying that now trees got tongue, tree tongue in trees, brook in running brooks. So the stream, books are like running in it, someone in stone, every stone has something writing in it, and good in everything. So there are so many literature, so many writing everywhere, people are full of it. Now Hudson says that while the Renaissance aroused the intellect and the aesthetic faculties, the Reformation awakened the spiritual nature, because this aesthetic pleasure started to evolve. Reformation in church, in literature, in social life, in political started to evolve too. The same printing press which differs the knowledge of the classic put the English Bible into the hands of people. Now this is very important thing which may come further, that printing press revolutionized the experience of writing and reading, because before that mostly writer had to write with manuscript, but when printing press started to press the book, when started to copy the book, it became more cheaper, and because of that the Bible came into the hand of people like us. Before that they were only the authority of church, but because of cheaper prices of book, this is now that became available to the people from the masses, prepared from an ordinary life, and a spread in the interest of religion was accompanied by a depending of moral earnestness. What happened? If it will come further, I will tell you. But you have to remember name like Tyndale and Wycliffe, because these people are like who actually died, who actually burned alive to reform the society, to reform the church, to give the actual meaning what happened, what had written in the Bible. We will study further if it comes, but this was the time when actually revolution came. People started to know what was wrong and what is right. So let's do some question answers. So the first question is, write down 3 names of great writers of every age with their 3 great works. This is little bit big word, that every age, from every age you have to choose 3 big writers, and you have to write it down 3 big works written by them. Why you should do it? Because of that you will get more idea about English literature, you will get more idea about the ages, history, the famous writers and their books. Another thing, you are right now at home, so when you are not studying from college, you should read another books which are not in your syllabus, so your knowledge about your line, your subject can be get more thorough. Like if you have King Lear by Shakespeare, so read his other books like Hamlet, Macbeth. If you have As You Like It, then read his other comedies. This is how you will get vast knowledge about it, and it will help you in your exams like NET and SET also. So do it right now. You have a very good chance to get more knowledge about other literature. Okay, so you have to do it. Now next question, explain the meaning of word Renaissance. As I already told you that the meaning of the word is rebirth and revival, but what I am saying that don't stick to whatever I have said or written in your lecture. Please do Google, and if you are getting some further knowledge which is very important to add, please do add it. Okay, next question, who used the word Renaissance for the first time? I have already mentioned the name of the writer, the name of his book, and when the book was published. So write that down. Next question, how Italy became the center of the classical literature. So whole incident when Turks conquered Constantinople and whatever happened after that, you have to mention that. Okay, so these are the important questions. Because the first question is very lengthy, so I have cut down another question. So write that down and send me your answers on WhatsApp. If you didn't get anything, if you want to ask further, please tell me in group, or you can comment in the video in YouTube channel, and you can discuss over there that what you understand, what you didn't understand, what you also need. If we get, as I already said, that if we get time, I would like to tell about the timeline, about the different ages in detail. Okay, for now we are doing done here. In next lecture we will do second part of Renaissance. Okay, but don't be just a lazy student. Find out about Renaissance by yourself too. Who are the best writer of the time? What are the best books written in the time? Poems, all that. We will do some creative works further too, but that will happen in further lectures. Till now, just write down answer of it and study more. All the best.